Welcome back to another Snake Cinema review. I am Prince Elias. Unfortunately, we don't have snakes in this video because they've just eaten. And I am a responsible reptile owner who believes that once they've eaten, you do not bother them until they shit that stuff out. Because who wants to be touched and handled and moved around after eating a big meal? So it's just me solo dolo, but it's all good. Anyways, let's talk about Maleficent. So, this is the third movie I've watched all week. Joker review coming soon, so look out for that. But I saw Addams Family, Joker, and Maleficent. So let's talk about Maleficent. It just came out this weekend. It is starring Angelina Jolie, Elle Fanning, and Michelle Pfeiffer. And those are the only people you need to know. I mean, there's other people in the movie, but they're not important. But it was pretty dope. It was pretty good. I love the first Maleficent movie because, I'm gonna be honest, as a Disney fan, I've always hated Sleeping Beauty. I've always hated Snow White. Those two were like the most boring princesses that ever created. They were just whack altogether. And so I was never a big fan of their films, but I loved their villains. Like Maleficent turned to a dragon. Loved it. So when they decided to do an origin story type film, when did that movie come out? 2014? I was up on that. I went to go see it. Fell in love with it. Angelina Jolie killed that role. She is that character. Like, that was perfect casting. And it's perfect casting in this movie. Unfortunately, this movie is going down a peg from the last movie because we didn't have much of Angelina Jolie. For this to be a movie about her, a movie about this titled Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, it wasn't much of our titled character. We do have more of Aurora, but Aurora has always been a weak princess. But I do love, I'll have to give it to Elle Fanning, I love her rendition of Aurora. She has way more personality than the animated cartoon. She has way more personality than some of the women who play Aurora in the theme parks. So it's like, you know, she didn't have much material to work with to begin with because that's such a boring character, but she made it her own. And they did give her more screen time, and they did give her more to work with in this film. I just wish, the only negative I really have is that I wish they played more to the mother-daughter relationship that they had in the beginning. Like the first Maleficent in 2014, it basically showed Maleficent raising Aurora up as a baby, you know, being her fairy godmother. And it played on that dynamic. You know, Maleficent did not want to have anything to do with Aurora except cursing her for her father's sins. But then they end up, you know, growing into that bond to where pretty much Maleficent was taking care of Aurora and saving her in the end when the curse had, you know, knocked her out. And I wish they played more on that dynamic, because in this film, Aurora's now about to get married to Prince Philip, who, like every Disney prince back in those days, had no personality. Prince Charming, Prince Philip. I'm gonna be honest, the princes, the men in these classic Disney films were always the weakest ones. Always the weakest characters. You either love the princesses, the villains, and the sidekicks. And he was the weakest part in this film. He did get better shine, and he did, you know, show more of his acting range. The actor, I forgot his name, toward the last third of the film, towards the climax of the film. But he's just a normal prince in a Disney film. He's all about being in love and getting married and ruling a kingdom and rebelling against his parents, but was bland. So it pretty much, the women took over this film. Angelina Jolie's Maleficent, Elle Fanning's Aurora, and the evil queen, the villain. I forgot her name because it was one of those generic fairy tale names, but she's played by Michelle Pfeiffer. She is the mistress of evil. She is the big baddie that Maleficent has to go against. She was a great villain. I ain't gonna lie. Michelle Pfeiffer killed that role. She was amazing. She was the highlight. I just wish, again, we didn't have more of Angelina as Maleficent. And when we did have Angelina as Maleficent, it wasn't a lot of talking. Like, Maleficent acted in her face and her facial expressions when her and her sidekick Diavo, I think that's his name, played by Sam Riley, also a good character, one of the best sidekicks out there, who was the Crow, or Raven. I'm sorry, I'm getting these characters so fucked up, but their dynamic when they interact with each other is amazing. When Aurora and Maleficent interact with each other, it's amazing. If it was just Aurora, Maleficent, and the Raven guy, Diavo, going throughout this whole movie, just them interacting with each other as Aurora getting ready for her big day, her wedding, and then fighting the bad guy, that would be a perfect film. But we have so many different side characters that the people who needed to shine did not get to shine, in my opinion. So, but I don't want this to be a fully negative review, because that's just not my style. I did enjoy this film. I did. I liked this film. Not as much as the first one, but I did like it. I would give it probably a 7.5 out of 10. I would recommend if you got kids, if you got teenagers, if you're a Disney fan and you love Maleficent as your favorite villain and stuff like that, I would recommend you go see it, but see it as a matinee. Or I live in Tennessee and we have this theater where between the hours of 5 and 7 o'clock, all movie showings are $5. It's kind of like matinee, but cheaper than matinee. We have like different tiers. I would suggest, if you live in my city, go to that particular movie theater between 5 and 7 o'clock and see it for $5, plus $2 popcorn. That's a great deal. If not, wait till it shows up on Disney Plus, Redbox. Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's a great guilty pleasure. It's a fun movie, in my opinion, and I will defend this to the death. The Maleficent movies are way better than any of the Disney live action remakes because they do something different. They don't hand you a shot for shot remake of Sleeping Beauty. They actually got creative with it. Did some of it land? Yes. Did some of it fail? Yes. Did some aspects of the concept fail? Yes. But it was different, it was great, and the acting is awesome. So I'm not gonna sit here and shit on this movie. This is a fun movie. Is it gonna be my top 10? Probably not. Top 15? Yeah, I'll say top 15, but not my top 10. As far as the live action Disney remakes, reimaginings, whatever you want to call them, the live action fairy tales, I would put this up there. When I'm comparing all the other live action Disneys, I will put this up there in the top 10. I'll put in the top 10 of that because they do something different. They're more creative, and I just love Angelina as Maleficent. This is her character. She owns this shit. She is amazing, and that's what I have to say about that. But as far as my top 10 list at the end of this year, as 2019, nah, it's not. It really had, I had more negatives in this one than I did in the first one, the 2014. But even my negatives, I feel like, are little minor nitpicks, except for the biggest sin that this movie created was that they didn't have more Maleficent. This movie should have been 80% Maleficent versus Michelle Pfeiffer, and 20% everybody else. The CGI really improved between this one and the 2014. Like, it looks effortlessly. It was amazing. The set pieces, the designs, the backgrounds, the CGI characters, the creatures, the fairy folks, Maleficent's kind, all that, they upgraded the fuck out of it, and it looks amazing. It looks so beautiful. But yeah, let's have to put 7.5 out of 10 is what I put. It is my top 15 of the year, not my top 10. But it is my top 10 if compared to just strictly Disney live action fairy tales, remakes, reimaginings, whatever the fuck you want to call them. But that's all I have to say for this one. I did enjoy it. It's a nice guilty pleasure. 7 point, but it's either it's either a matinee type movie or wait to Disney Plus. I think it's gonna be great on Disney Plus. It's gonna be killing a lot of fans. You just put it on and enjoy it on the streaming site. But that's all I have for you. Joker review coming soon. I'm gonna try to wait so I can actually have a snake in the vlogs, because I feel like I'm starting to have more reviews of no snakes and snake cinema reviews than I have of snakes. So I'm gonna wait till the snakes have digested their food and not shedding, and I will have one of them join me for the Joker review. I did see Joker this weekend. I'm not going to tell you whether I liked it or not, because I want to go more in depth in that video, but stay tuned. Joker is coming probably later on this week. But that's it for this review. I am out.